episode of Nature's Always Right, and today we're going to be talking again about building a washing machine salad spinner. I've got it on the machine here, and I'm actually going to be building this spinner for another farmer friend. For this one, I'm going to be doing it slightly different than my other one. So this washer, I picked it up for 75 bucks. My other one I got for 50 bucks. This one here, the actual diameter from here to here, this is 15 inches. On my other bin, it is 16 inches, and in that 16 inch, the trash can fits perfectly. So this is a roughneck 20 gallon. You can get these at Home Depot, and this fits perfectly inside of my 16 inch washer. This one, it's really nice, so you don't even have to build, like in Michael Kilpatrick's videos, he puts these little bumpers in here to make it have a tight fit. But if you can find a washer that has a 16 inch diameter, one of these cans will work great. So here's my upgrade that I'm going to do for the Urban Life farm. And this is what I would recommend to everybody. It's just to get a pre-made basket. It's already got holes in it. It's super sturdy. It's going to last you forever. You could make it this one yourself too, but for the same price and no labor, you get the same exact thing. So I like this thing a lot. It's made by Joyfish. It's on Amazon, and I put a link in the description for everybody. This is what I'll be using, and this is the one that Michael Kilpatrick also recommends as well. So the first thing I need to do is get this lid off and see what's under there. I want to barely take this thing apart. This thing does have an on and off switch that turns it off, so I will have to tape that shut, or I can wire it so that it does not turn off when you have this thing open. So I'll be fixing that. So the first thing, I got to get this control panel off, and I just want to be careful to not mess up any electronics. I want to keep everything intact. Every washer is a little bit different. According to Michael, the Whirlpool washers tend to be pretty good. Almost all of them will work. Okay, so once you open this thing up, the washing machine always has the electrical diagram, which we don't really need. Okay, so the next thing, I need to pull these tabs. You press these down and then pull them out. Like that. Little plug. I'm very gentle with it. Okay, so now I think we got all the pieces off. There we go. So the sides are just held on by tabs since I loosened it all. This switch is the plug that controls the sensor on this, so if it's open, it won't spin. So this is the thing I'll have to bypass. Let's just take off this top lid. Okay, now that that's off, now our next step is to get this centerpiece out. So we gotta bang this thing off. Hopefully we can just break it. So it's hard to see. So this seam right here, break this off. So that's what we're gonna do. Oh, that was easy. So now you can see a nut right there. So now we need to unscrew that. Okay, and that just comes out. So I just took the switch off and I figured out how it works. When the door opened, there was a latch that would push this thing backwards. Hear that click? That's the button that has to be depressed. So all I can do is I can hold it so this is completely open, and then it'll just work. And then I just need to find another place to put this in. What I need to do is find a ground for this thing, and here's one that I can use. So what I'm gonna do is, see that gap? If I can shove something in that gap, it'll hold it open. And I'll just use like a little screw, and then that'll last forever. Okay, here's my little screw. Oh wow, it fits perfect. Okay, and I'll throw some tape on there too, just to make it extra strong. It's not going anywhere, it's nice and safe. And then what we'll do is we'll pop this guy out. You see all these wires here? Just kind of ride over the top. We're gonna make this one do the same thing. This is the wire that gives power to this switch. So now that this is all connected and this switch is jumped, now this thing is going to be able to turn on. I got my extension cord out here. Okay, so now it works. I did jump that switch correctly. This thing's ready to go now. So now I need to figure out how to handle this thing. Now what I'm gonna go do is go consult Michael Kilpatrick's greens washer course. And I'm gonna put a link of that in the description for you guys. And if you want a really in-depth plan of how to actually build one of these with wiring descriptions, he puts a special lid on it and a little, a timer box. It's much more professional. And if you'd like more instruction, he's got, a video step-by-step process, PDFs, like all the stuff that goes with it, recommendations on which washers to buy and all that stuff. So if you're one of those people that really wants all of the details and all that, I really recommend his course. It has helped me as a reference, like knowing what to do or just seeing, how someone built one of these washers. But if you're someone who just likes to get their hands dirty, go for it and try to build it, you can definitely figure it out and make it happen. I'm kind of thinking at this point now that I'm just gonna go buy the extra part, and it's just a toilet flange that sits on top of this so that it can go deeper, and that metal piece will just nest inside of this. All right guys, so now I'm back in the garage and I'm going to be cutting off these handles to make it a lot safer, because when this is spinning, if you accidentally put your hand here and this hit you, it would really hurt. So I'll be using a Dremel and a simple cutting disc just to slice this off. The other thing I'll be doing is taking apart this toilet flange. That's one of the parts that you will need. What I ended up deciding to do is to do what Michael Kilpatrick does, and that is to use in my case I needed to use a 4-inch diameter pipe to use with a 4-inch flange. And then I'm going to fully remove this. I just wanted to show you guys how to set it up. But what I'm going to do is connect the flange together with the pipe, put a cap on it. This flange is going to be connected to the bottom of this trash can. There will be a hole cut in the trash can. So there will be a hole all the way through the trash can inside of the pipe. So basically what's going to happen is it's going to isolate the agitator and the pipe and all of those things from the greens and the receptacle and all that. It just spins around it. Okay, so now let's check this thing out. So this is a toilet flange. I don't know, I guess it goes underneath your toilet to connect it to the floor or something like that. To get this middle part out, you have to hit it with a hammer. And it seems weird, like it's fully connected and you couldn't pull it off, but you hit it with a hammer. Then I took some pliers like this that lock, and then you just rip it off. And that's it. So now I need to connect this to the bottom of the trash can, so I'm going to cut the bottom of the trash can. So because this container is going to be spinning at a really fast speed, it's important that this thing is placed directly in the center. Otherwise it could create a bit of a wobble. What I'm going to do is make sure this is really centered. I'm going to make some marks with my drill here, and then drill the holes out, and then I'm going to fully attach it with these. I'll be able to take my straight edge here and then make a really good cut around the edge there, and I should be able to cut through it pretty easily. And that ensures me getting a really good circle all the way around that I know is in the center. Okay, so we're just using a simple nut, washer, and bolt here. Okay, so I'm just tightening these down now. Don't want to do them too tight. Alright, so that's what we're left with. So now we need to cut this and run this around the inside. The tube will just guide it. I just want to be careful with a knife that wherever you're pushing or throwing your force, that your body's out of the way. I'm not doing it with my leg right in front here, because if I slipped, maybe I'd hit my leg. So I'm actually going like this. Just something to keep in mind. It's something my dad would tell me, right? I guess I'm getting old. Alright, so that worked pretty good. So now when we look down this hole, now it's just a hole. Okay, so I've got this thing pretty snug in there right now. And unfortunately, the bucket that I got is too small. You know, I could still use this thing, but the problem is when the greens spin around, they spread out, and they'll spread up higher as well. So, you know, you could only put like this much from this level and down of greens. So I could fit a heck of a lot more in this 20-gallon trash bin. So I still feel like it's superior. The other solution that you could do though is I put this in here. I'm gonna cap it, obviously. You could choose to dump them in here and wash them, or you could spin it with this inside. And that's another option. The fit is pretty snug that I wouldn't be worried about it flying out or something. And then you just take this out, go get more greens, dump it in, which is another great solution. And I know in one of Curtis's videos, he talked about how he likes actually having a permanent container like this. And then you go in and out with a bucket like this. So I know that, I'm pretty sure I heard him talk about that in his washing machine video. So anyways, guys, that's a bunch of different options of how you can set it up. Okay, so now my next step is to fit this piece on here and cut it. You can see it way down in there, and I see that I need it to be about this tall. I also need to think about this cap as well, and how that's gonna fit in there, and I need to imagine that in there as well. And I can always cut off a little more. I'm cutting this slightly longer than I think I should. So now I'm just going to clean off all the plastic pieces on this thing. It's so snug together that I am not going to use any glue on this at all. There's no way this is coming off. And it's nice because then it leaves it completely removable. You can take this whole thing apart. You can clean it if you want to. Something that Michael Kilpatrick mentioned in Curtis Stone's video when he was building it was that he was going to put a bead of some type of sealer here. But if you can remove it to clean it, I don't see why that's as big as of a deal. You can also add the sealer later if you wanted to. So I'm just going to leave it like this because I don't really see it being a problem. The seam is so small here. So now this is the final step here, is just to drill out all of my holes. My previous bucket I used this one, but it made a lot of rough edges, so it was very annoying to clean all the plastic out of it. So I'm hoping that these ones will make a little bit smoother hole. So we'll see how that works. Another possible solution to doing this without creating a lot of plastic fibers, another solution would be to use like a soldering iron and just shove a soldering iron through, or a hot rod somehow. It's another possible solution that somebody gave me in regards to my worm bin video when I was punching holes through it. And I thought those were really great ideas. So thank you guys for all the help that you give me and feedback that you give me. It helps me learn more about construction or how to build things better, or just a better solution and how to make things work. So thank you, thank you. So unfortunately, this does the same type of thing. From this type of drill bit. This hole is from this type of drill bit. But if you run it back and forth a few times, it actually turns out to be pretty darn clean. Next thing I'm going to do is just remove these handles really quickly. It's really easy to just use a Dremel to do this. So I'm getting a little bit too close here on my other barrel, which drains perfectly. I've got about 1 inch to 1.5 inch gap in between each hole, and my next set is about another 1.5 inch away. We are going to have to come back and just do a little bit of work to clean these up, but it won't be too much work if we drill these out well. And I'm not going to go higher than here because when I set the trash can into the barrel, it maxes out at about here. Alright, so now the final thing I gotta do is just clean up some of these holes here, and I'm just going to use a utility knife to do that. It makes it really easy. Just rotate it back and forth, and it gets all the big pieces off. Any remaining like dust particles and things like that, I'm going to shoot off with a hose, and then also scrub this down with one of those steel pot scrubbers, and that'll get the rest off. And then I'll do that a couple times to this until I rinse this out, and then I'll wipe a paper towel across this. If I see no plastic particles, then I know that it's completely clean. I need to find the larger size of the buckets that are supposed to work for this, because the ones that are currently available just aren't big enough. I'd rather just buy a bucket that I can just shove in there and it's just ready to go. I just have to modify maybe some bumpers to make it fit tighter. Yeah, in the future, and hope you'll be able to find the right size bucket for the next time. I just don't have time right now. I can't wait around. They need this product, so I'm going to use this, and this is a great. I honestly like this better than the bucket a little bit because it's just so tall, but it just takes extra time. All right, so now the whole thing is built. I just got to put it back together. Here's how it's looking with the center thing in there. It fits super nice and snug, so I don't need to add any bumpers. This isn't going anywhere. So I just need to put it all back together. So here we go. So unfortunately, run into another complication. This thing's touching. Okay, so after thinking about this and kind of gaming it out, it seems like putting this on backwards actually is going to be the best. And I think it'll be a little safer and nicer to use, because it'll isolate the user from the basket. It makes there's a separation. So it'll just be on here like this, and this is still really easy to get on and off. And the control panel is right in front of you, and then it's blocking you from all the spinning action going on. So then I need to reinforce this. Because the top lid is not on there, there's no way to connect this, so I need to add something to this. Ooh, that's smooth. That thing's going a little crazy. But looks great. So I'm not going to reinforce this anymore. Nothing's shaking, everything's fine. Plenty of rigidity and strength. I'm leaving this hose for them so that they can decide if they want to attach it or just get rid of it. Maybe they want to reuse the water or something, so I'm going to leave that up to them. All right, thank you for watching the video, and please be sure to share this video if you know any other farmers that would benefit from learning how to make one of these. It's really simple, and you can definitely do it at home by yourself, and I hope that between my two videos, Curtis's videos, that you could do this yourself. But if you want plans and really exact instructions and pictures and videos, then I recommend Michael Kilpatrick's Dry Your Greens course. I'm going to put a link in the description for that. But yeah, other than that, guys, let me know if you have any questions. Put those in the comments. I'd love to answer any questions you have about building this. Every washing machine is slightly different, as I found out on this one especially. So here's just another example of how you can rig it. And there's, I'm sure there's unlimited ways to set this up.